To have the privilege of having a job of making the road safe, that's rewarding for me. Getting through a storm and seeing the final product of what you've done. It's something I take pride in, and because of it being a challenge, it's something I enjoy doing.
Welcome everybody, thanks for coming out. Little warning, if this starts to sound like a pregame football speech, don't be alarmed, that's how I speak best. So, my wife and I moved here to Geauga County 3 years ago. My relationship with Geauga County goes well back from that. And we're very blessed and thankful that we were able to bring our 9 children and raise them in Geauga County. It's a special place, it needs to be protected, and I believe America should look at Geauga County and try to do what we're doing here. I'm not a CEO, I'm not a businessman or a lawyer. I haven't built wealth. What I built was a family. My wife and I have 9 adopted children. A senior in high school, or excuse me, a 24-year-old that lives in Kentucky, and we have 3 little girl, 3-year-old twins, Maddie and Kinsey. There's been a lot made about my experience in this race, and I can assure you that raising 9 adopted children have given me a vast wealth of experience. My oldest son, Quincy, came to live till he was 14 years old. If you ever want to turn your life upside down, adopt a 14-year-old teenager. He came with us, and he was struggling with addiction. Fortunately, he didn't win that battle all the way. He had to go to prison. He didn't do the right things. We worked really hard to try to keep him from that. But I stand you here today to tell you that he is 24 months sober. He has a job, his own car. So the drug epidemic is personal to me. My twins, they 3 years old. Their mother came to me and my wife and asked if we would take them in. Yes. They were born and had to have morphine in their bodies because of the drugs they were addicted to. It's a personal thing. My experience for this job, I tell you, is meaningful. 2012, the tragedy here at Chardon. I wanted nothing to do with that tragedy. It wasn't until Sandy Hook, 9 months later, I considered myself to be a coward because I didn't stand up and fight for the victims at Chardon. I wanted my life back. I didn't want 15 minutes of fame. Since Sandy Hook, we formed the Coach Hall Foundation. We got House Bill 318 passed. We had $12 million invested into our schools. I've been from Connecticut to California and everywhere in between, advocating for our children, advocating for our schools, advocating for mental health, advocating for recovery. That's what I'm about. There's not a bill that will cross my desk as far as right to life goes that I won't sign. Every one of my children were considered castaways, throwaways by the Democratic Party. And according to their liberal thinking, they should have been murdered before they were born. And I'll never, ever not support right to life. I believe in the Second Amendment. I'm a member of the NRA. I believe that it's as important right as we have in our country. I believe that it needs to be protected, and I'll do that. The last thing I want to tell you, I want to serve. I received a tweet when me and Senator Eklund about my opponent's support and how the entire Republican caucus was behind her. That kind of struck me strange for a moment, and I went home and I thought about it and I prayed about it, and then I realized that no one in the Republican caucus has a vote in the 76th district. That this is your seat, and you should have a choice and have the ability to go to the ballot box and make that choice. And that's why I'm running, to serve you. Thank you, and God bless.
You talk about improving school funding and breaking the levy gridlock. What is your plan for this?
Well, what I want to do in Columbus is form a committee to look at every idea that's going on in schools. Since the early 2000s, when President Bush enacted No Child Left Behind, there's been more education legislation passed in this country than ever before. And we're finding out now is that these good ideas, they're starting to work against each other. We're not really doing what's best for our children. Take the third grade literacy test. The third grade literacy test puts so much amount of pressure on a 9-year-old to pass that test in order to go on to the 4th grade. It's truly not what it's meant to do. And now we're finding out that third grade literacy test, because in the 3rd grade, you know what's being taught solely? Reading. So math and science, now we're falling behind in the 4th and 5th grade. So those are some of the things that we need to look at. Funding is a huge part of what we need to look at. We don't need to throw more money at schools. We have plenty of money going to schools. What we need to look at is how to better use that money. A county to the east of us has 7 school districts, and 5 of them have graduates 100 kids or less. What we saw here in Geauga County, Ledgemont, Newberry next year, consolidation works. So out of those 7 school districts, every one of those school districts are paying superintendents $150,000 a year in salary and benefits package. So imagine if we take all 7 of those districts, divide them in 2 districts, now we're paying 1 superintendent. We're paying 1 special ed director. We're paying 1 transportation director. So things like that. And I'm not going to be the smartest guy in the room, so we need to get people, business people, mental health people, educators, and find out what works best. And we need to put our egos aside and let people think about things and do what's best for our children.
The state cuts income taxes, which ends up creating less funds for local governments, so they have no choice but to raise property taxes. Is there anything wrong with this scenario?
I believe it's 2008, 2009, the governor and the state legislator cut billions of dollars from local governments. I'm a Reagan guy, and I believe in small government. I believe that the most important government is governing that's done at local levels. I was at a township meeting in Burton, and it was one of the most fantastic things I've ever seen. Burton Village and Middlefield Township were working on a road together, and Burton supplied the material, Middlefield supplied the labor and equipment. And both sides were talking about, you know what, we're not going to pay for that because our taxpayers don't need to. And it was something that really inspired me to go back and work hard for the small guy on the town square, small guy on Main Street. Since 2008, over $2 billion has been taken from local government. Half the counties in the state of Ohio have had to raise taxes. 207 municipalities raised taxes. Now, that's not, I don't know if that's good governing, but I know for sure that it's just passing the buck along. The money was taken away to create a rainy day fund. We're about 2.8, or excuse me, about 2.4%, and the cap is 2.5. So after the next percent that goes in, they can't put any more money in there. So what are they going to do with that money? I'm telling you what I would do with the money. I'd give it back to the taxpayers and let them lower taxes. That's my idea of what best thing to do with that money.
You may have touched on this, but it was written to ask, so I'm asking again. Do you feel that February 2012 brought you to being a candidate today, and if so, how?
You know, there's not too many days go by that I don't think about Danny or Demetrius or Russell. That's not why I'm here. I made a commitment a long time ago through the Coach Hall Foundation to not let their names be forgotten. And I work really hard with the Coach Hall Foundation. What I'm here for today is our children, my children. Again, you know, they were castaways and throwaways, and that's what the American dream is not about. I stand here before you as the first college graduate in my family, and they're going to be college graduates. They're going to be doctors and lawyers. They may be welders, they may be plumbers, but they're going to serve their community, and they're going to make you proud someday.
Thank you, sir.